Hello, welcome to the Greenfield Conservation Commission, March 25th. This meeting is being recorded by the Conservation Commission. If any other persons present are doing so at this time, you must notify the chairperson. Should any technical interruption to the meeting occur and the meeting is suddenly ended, it will not be resumed and all items will be automatically continued to the next scheduled meeting date. Let's start with call to order. We did that rather roll call. Jeez, I have completely forgotten how this works. Starting online, Kristen,
Aye.
Erica,
Here.
Emily. Hi. I am also here, as is Jessica, our conservation agent. So let's start with the approval of meeting minutes from March 11. Has everybody had an opportunity to look that over? Excellent.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 11th.
Great. So let's vote to accept the meeting minutes from March 11th, starting with Kristen,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Erica.
Aye.
I am also an aye. Approved minutes will become available to the public on our website on the next business day following this meeting. So let's jump right in to our, let's see, public hearing. Request for an amended order of conditions, improvements at the Greenfield Water Pollution Control Facility at 384 Deerfield Street, maps 1415, lots 3A, 1, DEP number 168-360. The project is replacing the aging infrastructure at the facility, replacing an existing covered tanker truck area with a new solids loading garage, replacing an existing external staircase and upgrading some existing pavement and curbing directly east of the facility. During the demolition stage, unforeseen conditions were encountered requiring some changes to the design. This has not resulted in an increase in the impervious area compared to the original approved design and has slightly increased the amount of flood storage volume due to the decrease in concrete foundation walls from the reduced building footprint.
Okay, so I received a letter and the updated plans. As you read, they started the demo. And they just changed the design slightly. They said the footprint of the sludge loading garage needed to be reduced and the building shifted west by 5 feet to account for conflicts in below ground conduit and piping. This has not resulted in an increase in the impervious area compared to the original order conditions and has slightly increased the amount of flood storage volume due to the decrease in concrete foundation walls from the reduced building footprint. So it's actually a positive change, and I can share my screen and show kind of the old plans versus new plans, but really I was going through the formality of changing because the order of conditions are attached to the old plan. So tonight just upgrading them so that they address the new plans instead.
Okay.
Yeah, let me share my screen. I forget how to do this every time I try to do it. Usually it's at the top. Oh, there. Share. Okay, so this is the letter. And we'll go to, this was the old plans. So the riverbank's down at the bottom. This next hatch line is the 100-foot buffer. And then the top one, the 200-foot riverfront area. So you can see kind of the, this whole, this is the project right here, right? The hollow area is already existing. So this is the extent of the project. So it goes, just to draw your attention, this curved area kind of lines up perfectly with the outside. And then this kind of walkway lines up perfectly with this outside, and the stairs is just above that. So I'll go to the new project. Yeah, this is like really little, but. There we go. So, see this curved area goes straight down and then it actually indents a bit. This part's new, it comes out more. But it doesn't extend further into the buffer zone at all. It's really just kind of this part, right? And previously where my cursor is, that was going to be pavement and now it's landscaping stone. And then there's landscaping stone to the south of the stairs too. So that's that.
Can you just mark out the resource area boundaries again?
So at the very bottom, you see the hash line is the river bank.
Okay,
And then this middle line is the 100-foot buffer zone.
great.
And then the top line is the 200-foot
Resource area. Okay,
riverfront area, yeah.
great, thank you.
And so they're also in bordering land subject to flood?
Yeah, so this is like this project was already approved.
Could we look at the original conditions?
Yes. Yeah. Let's see. So this is through the DPW. And it doesn't appear that there were any special conditions, actually. Just the general conditions. Do you want me to look at anything specific on this?
Just,
Yeah, so there are bordering lands subject to flood, riverfront area.
Oh, so it's exempt from riverfront. Is this a water treatment facility?
Yeah, it's the biosolids plant on Deerfield Road, 384 Deerfield.
Okay, so they're exempt from riverfront, but not from bordering land subject to flood. Um, do we know what these unforeseen issues were that required a project change?
Yeah, it was conduit and piping, so they just had to shift. They just had to shift the actual biosolids.
What about the conduit and piping though?
Well, they couldn't dig where the conduit and piping was, so
so it was existing conduit and piping in the.
They
ground.
didn't know that when they
Yeah.
permitted it?
yeah. So when they were in the demo stage, they found it there, so they did not know it was there, and then they found it. So here is, see how this dark gray zone biosolids building expansion is here on the kind of top part of this plan.
Mhm.
Now they moved it down. So it's like the same, it's the same plan, like they're achieving the same goal. They just had to move it because they couldn't build this where the piping and the conduits were.
Do we have calculations showing, so for bordering land subject to flood, in order to meet the performance standards under bordering land subject to flood, you're supposed to show your cut and fill calculations for each 1 foot elevation. Do we have calculations on that?
Well, what they sent to me was basically that letter and these plans, which, you know,
I mean, it's great that we're increasing flood storage capacity, but do we have those calculations to demonstrate that? Normally, there's a table right on the plans that kind of has each elevation foot broken out for cut and fill. That shows your flood storage capacity.
Okay. I mean, tell me if you see,
I'm not seeing it. It should be a table right on the plans.
What's to the right there? Oh, that's just the.
That's just the title block.
Yeah.
Maybe in a detail sheet or oh, what's this one? This one,
I'll keep scrolling and we'll.
or maybe
um,
on the title block, we'll see what the plan title is and that will help
Okay.
us narrow it down.
Did you find it? Bunch of tables anyway.
Oh, towards the end.
Yeah, it'd probably be on a proposed conditions sheet.
Energy code review, building code review.
Footing sketch.
Are you seeing it at all?
See, I don't think I am, but there's.
Is Ty and Bond here tonight?
No, I asked them, and they had a scheduling conflict and I said I would talk for them, but that you guys may have additional questions and they would have to come back next meeting.
They are a pretty reputable engineering firm who are familiar with the performance standards, so if they would know that.
Yeah,
and they have that
yeah,
calc.
they have experience doing this. Okay.
Jesus. Oh,
Did you say something?
Lighting fixture, no, I didn't see anything that.
Okay. This is all like interior stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, we have a lot of sheets on interior stuff. That would be the one thing that I would want to see, just for the record,
Okay,
having them tell us that it's an increase in flood storage capacity is great, but we need to see the calcs.
okay,
And typically, if they can just put a table on the plans and
okay.
broken out by 1 foot elevation contours, that's typically how it's done.
Yeah.
And so like a, permitted, approved table and then proposed field change table, something like that.
An existing catch basin, I don't know what those things mean.
This part is that.
Yeah, that connect roof drain pipe.
um,
Cause they did nicely like sort of highlight all of the things.
Or did they have a cover letter where that was like in the cover
Yeah.
letter?
The cover letter is what I just read, so this is it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so this is basically where it's like gives them the specific details of what's changing as in relation to what, you guys would want to consider. So basically, the footprint of the sludge loading garage is reduced. It's shifted west by 5 feet to account for conflicts below the ground due to the conduit and piping. This has not resulted in an increase in impervious area compared to the original order conditions and has slightly increased the amount of sludge storage volume due to the decrease in concrete foundation walls from the reduced building footprint.
Are there any, so there are no increases in square footage to buffer zone or BLSF?
5 feet, so which direction did they
No,
move?
so the overlap to the 100-foot buffer zone is, as much as I can tell, the same.
Okay.
Second
So,
100 feet where the change happens.
yeah, because like, so like, this is actually landscaping stone,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the new plans, right? So
Mhm.
that's the line, the buffer zone, so that's the overlap. And if you look at the old plans, that is the overlap. So it's similar, but this is concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So the overlap in the new plans is pervious versus impervious.
But it's more buffer zone impact?
No.
No,
No.
it's the same.
It like, no, to me, it looks negligible, if it's any. Well, so I guess the question is, do you need them to come back next week to answer questions? Or do you feel like you have sufficient information to allow me to do the administrative and attach the new plans to the existing order conditions?
I have a question. Earlier when we looked at the order conditions, Kristen probably, someone commented that they had exemption. Where was the exemption?
Let's see, where-
So, wastewater treatment facilities are exempt from the riverfront performance standards under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. I'm not sure if that's the same under our bylaw, but I'm assuming our bylaw mirrors, or our ordinance, sorry, mirrors that. I'll pull up the exemption if you need it.
Yeah,
It's buried, it's deep in there, and I only know that because I'm actually working on a permit right now that involves that, and I just
So
learned that this
the
year.
100 feet is Riverfront resource area, but not the 100-foot buffer area. So it's within the buffer, the 100-foot area that our jurisdiction holds. Is that correct?
it's,
'Cause of the
it's
exemption?
just outside.
No, I mean, the exemption that they have, is that just,
That's for riverfront area, so the 200 feet.
but the 100-foot is not exempt, right?
That's right, yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it,
So the
if-
area that we're looking at is just that corner that's impacted. It's not the
Yeah.
change in the structure. It's great
Yeah,
that that's
that's a
different,
good-
but that's not
Mhm.
within our
That's
jurisdiction.
a good point.
Yep.
That's a
So
good
the
dis-
only
good
question.
distinction.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
So the only question
Corner,
really that we
basically.
have before us is the shift on that little corner sufficient
Yeah,
to warrant a whole additional,
NOI.
or have them come in to explain?
yeah,
Yeah.
which,
Which is, that's impervious, I mean, pervious.
It's
now.
now
yeah, which
pervious,
it's
right.
switched to,
Right.
it's switched to pervious. Right, that's penetrable, right?
Right.
It'd be great to have them put all those calculations on there. I'd love to have that access, but just, it seems like that's not our jurisdiction in this particular case because it's
Okay.
water.
Right.
Okay.
BLSF is though.
Right.
So it's a
So
definition.
Kristen, I guess the question is your concern around that corner, and its potential encroachment into the space sufficient to warrant having them come in?
No, my only issue was that, you know, they gave us a qualitative statement saying that there is an increase in flood storage capacity, but there are no data to back that up. So I just was hoping that there was a table somewhere that showed this was what was permitted, this is what is proposed as a field change, which in my mind, I think would qualify for an administrative approval as a field change, but I don't, I do believe them. I mean, they're a reputable company, but I don't see any data. So I just want to see the data.
So can that be something that Jessica can ask them to provide? But we can go ahead with approval or wait till you get that until. Can that be like a condition of, yes, go Amy?
Right, right.
By the way, the riverfront exemption is 10.586H, which states construction, expansion, repair, restoration, alteration, replacement, operation, and maintenance of public or private, local or regional wastewater treatment plants and their related structures, conveyance systems, and facilities, included utility lines, are grandfathered. That's just for riverfront, not for BLSF or BVW. And buffer zone, to answer your question, Emily, is just, it's our jurisdiction. It's not necessarily a resource area, but riverfront's a resource area. BLSF is a resource area. Buffer zone is just our jurisdiction. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so we need further information and it sounds like we don't really necessarily want to approve this without having that further information. Is that a fair statement or does the commission disagree?
I think it'd make us feel more comfortable to have those calculations in hand to verify their statement. And also just in their letter, they were asking for clarification about whether they would be required to file a full NOI
Mhm.
or if we could,
Yeah.
approve this minimal change. So.
Yeah,
I think once they provide that, I don't think.
Yeah,
I think it
okay.
seems like it's
Is-
pretty straightforward.
is that something that I can, when I receive it, check and then save to the file and send the updated order of conditions, or how should I distribute it to you?
It sounds like we should get the information and then make a decision at the next, because we can't confer by email.
Right.
And so we need to look at that and,
Yeah, I think we want to approve the actual specifications that they have made and then give them the
Okay,
the altered order of conditions without requiring a new NOI.
okay. Okay, so do you have to,
Vote or do you just?
You want me to do a quick screen share really quick?
sure, let me stop sharing.
Okay, just pull this over. So this is the general performance standards for BLSF. So compensatory storage shall be provided for all flood storage volume that will be lost as a result of a proposed project within BLSF when in the judgment of the issuing authority, that's us and DEP. Said loss shall cause an increase or will contribute incrementally to an increase in the horizontal extent and level of floodwaters during peak flows. And it goes on and on. So the performance standards for BLSF are kind of, beefy. So just wanna, I know I voiced my opinion. I didn't mean to pressure anybody else into like,
on the map, what's the extent of the BLSF?
Well, it's also says, it seems like it's really on that little teeny.
That's the 100-foot buffer zone.
That's
So
different.
can I just
Oh.
add, something?
Sure.
In the original order conditions, it talks about how the proposed activities will result in a net increase in the flood storage. So I think from the get-go, the original version of the project was already increasing the flood storage. So just to throw that out there, like they're not decreasing the flood storage capacity. And this new version, they're increasing it, and this new version apparently increases it even more to a slight degree.
So if the work is within the BLSF, then that is within our jurisdiction, correct?
Mhm.
So we do
It's a
need to see the
resource area.
calculations so that we
Okay.
can verify what they've said. So that
Okay.
sounds good. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay, great.
that's pretty clear. But then it does seem like it's going the right direction. And
Mhm.
once we verified it, then we can say,
Right.
good job.
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Permission granted. Right, yep. Yeah, do we need to make a motion on that? I think we don't. I think we put it down to the next meeting.
Do you continue?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do
Yeah,
we
yeah.
vote on a continuation?
Yep.
But aren't they supposed to request the continuation, okay? they're not here, so.
They're not here, so we're gonna.
Can I request it?
Yeah.
Because I'm here.
As
speaking
their
for
rep.
them. Yeah,
Rep.
yeah.
Yeah, please.
I'd like to request a continuation to the next meeting.
Can we get a motion?
So make a motion to continue to the next meeting.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to continue request for amended order of conditions, improvements at the Greenfield Water Pollution Control Facility at 384 Deerfield Street, maps 1415, lots 3A and 1, DEP number 16836-360. Can we get a vote? Kristen,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Erica,
Aye.
I'm also an aye. We will continue this until our next meeting. Up next, request under category 3 of the bundled order of conditions, maintenance of roadways and drainage systems on I-91, routes 2, 5, and 10, DEP number 168-0363. Given that this is our first event under this bundled order of conditions and bundled NOI, we thought it would be of value to briefly review what particular sections of the bundle are relevant to this particular project.
Okay, so this request is for debris removal in a culvert, which falls under category 3 in our bundled order of conditions. So I'll just read category 3 projects require prior review by the Conservation Commission to determine if the work may be completed under these orders or if a new NOI is required. All work in category 3 requires a Mass DOT environmental representative to be present. Projects requiring new engineering plans in general will require a new NOI and do not fall under routine operation and maintenance associated with this order. So condition number no. Removal of recently deposited sediment in the culvert. Removal of recently accumulated woody debris is included in category 2. However, removal of recently accumulated sediment from streams within jurisdictional resource areas falls under category 3. The work may be approved by the commission under this order following the submission of a written request, as long as a Mass DOT environmental representative provides oversight and reporting throughout work within the resource areas. Commission may decide upon review of plans that the work will require a new NOI.
And the request is, this project submitted a bundled notice of intent for the routine maintenance of existing roadways and culverts on I-91 routes 2, 5, and 10. Category 3 and 4 maintenance activities are required to come before the commission under the bundled order of conditions. Massachusetts Department of Transportation is requesting approval through the existing bundled order of conditions for culvert cleaning and a top of slope repair along Mohawk Trail.
Okay, so the written request that Billy submitted, here, I'll share my screen. Okay, so over time, debris is accumulated at the inlet of a series of barrel culverts between the Big Y Plaza and Route 2 in Greenfield. The impediment of flow through these barrels is causing the development of scour pools at the inlets. This continuous scour erodes the stream bank, and if unaddressed, it will begin to undermine the roadway embankment. The culvert cleaning work will consist of removing tree debris and sediment that has become stuck at each culvert, restricting proper drainage. Tree debris will be removed by means of a grapple bucket, and the sediment that has built up in front of the culverts will be removed by a vac truck. Both the grapple bucket and the vac truck will be stationed on the roadway above. There will be no machinery that enters the resource area. Both means of removal will limit the disturbance to surrounding resource areas and allow for proper drainage for future rain events. While this work involves removing debris from the inlet of culverts, it is not anticipated to have any adverse impact to land underwater. Because this falls under category 3, an A representative from District Environmental will be present during work and will provide a follow-up email to the Conservation Commission with before and after photos. The top of slope repair will consist of replacing riprap and millings along the road edge that have been washed away during high-intensity storm event. This work will occur at the top of the slope of the roadway embankment / stream bank. The placement of the riprap will occur where there has previously been riprap and will not result in an increase of riprap, only restoration of what has been lost. No adverse impact to the stream bank is anticipated. So this is the photos that they provided. This is like a very detailed, I can zoom in, but it's probably not gonna help. I have an arc map screenshot that I can show you that is this mapped area. But you can see this is the main entrance to Big Y, and this is the westerly part of the culvert with all the debris. And then this is the exit on the east side. So they want to remove that. And then this third one, if you continue down, the gas station's right there. What is it, like a Circle K? Yeah. And this one, they're just monitoring. They're not going to do any work, but they just, because they're removing upstream debris and sediment, they're just going to keep an eye on this one to make sure it's everything's okay. And then this next page is where the riprap needs to be fixed. So that's just to the west of Route 2A.
Are there pictures of that one, or no? Was that part of?
Oh, sorry, yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
paused. So here it is. And so you can see it's just missing some and it's like fallen down into the stream.
So what happens with the riprap that's fallen down into the stream?
So I wrote Billy and requested more info on the riprap, and I'll read you. Okay. So essentially they will use an excavator with a bucket attachment to pick up the large stones. Then a laborer will be standing on the slope guiding the person in the machine of where to place it, and then adjust each stone in place so it stays. Through the machine, the machine is called an excavator. For this repair, they do not need to do any ground disturbance, simply placing additional rocks that have fallen out of place at the top of the slope. In the photos I sent, you will see the black geotextile fabric is exposed. That is where the riprap will be placed over. So like
Okay.
here.
So they're not bringing in new riprap?
No,
Okay,
they're just taking
Okay.
the stuff that's fallen and
Putting it back. Okay.
Yeah, that's the extent.
I don't see an issue. Kristen, have you taken a look at those plans?
Well, if you want to just keep the screen share on these photos for a second. So I have a couple issues with these culverts globally that have nothing to do with this particular request, but should they ever come to us for a culvert replacement, my suggestion is that these don't currently meet mass stream crossing standards. If you look at that photo on the right, there's a little bit of a waterfall at the outlet. That means that there's a disconnect in the aquatic organism connectivity. So there's probably a plunge pool at the downslope, I mean at the outlet. So those culverts are clearly undersized. And then if you scroll down a little bit more on the next photo, it's the stream's coming in at an angle, so those culverts are misaligned.
Yeah.
So should they ever, I just want to like, for the commission, should they ever come to the commission with the proposal to replace these culverts? I would like to see that very, very much, because these culverts they're undersized, they're misaligned. I think there's a significant barrier to aquatic organisms, at least at the outlet. And Billy said in that email or letter that there was some scouring on the upstream side, which is another indication of an undersized culvert. And you tend to see erosion on banks when the culvert's undersized because the water pools upstream. It can't get through the culvert fast enough. Obviously, there's a lot of invasive species there. I think there's a lot of room for improvement with this crossing structure overall, or these crossing structures. I think there's two overall. Just for the record, if they ever want to improve these, I would be in full support of that. As far as the minor maintenance, I think that does fall under category 3. I would want to maybe discuss with the commission what Mass DOT is doing for appropriate erosion and sediment controls, if they're disturbing any turbidity in the stream as they're removing rocks from land underwater, or below mean annual high-low. What are they doing for in-stream turbidity measures, if anything? Did we get any indication from them about that?
So everything they provided you've seen, but I feel like she did say something. She said, while this work involves removing debris from the inlet of culverts, it is not anticipated to have any adverse impact to land underwater. So
Yeah, but they're pulling rocks out of the water, so it's gonna create turbidity.
that's for the slope repair.
I mean, if there's riprap in the stream and it's below mean annual low water, it's inland underwater.
Right. No, the part I was reading was for the culvert cleaning.
Is there sediment in the culvert? It looked like it was just woody debris.
I know, I thought it did too, but maybe if you're there in person, it's
Yeah,
there.
because we have 2 different categories for woody debris and sediment. Woody debris is just category 2, I thought, so.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But you know, so she submitted it as category 3, knowing there's sediment.
I would say as long as the material that's removed is lawfully disposed of, in accordance with all applicable regulations and permits, and appropriate erosion and sedimentation controls are in place, I'm cool with it. And just as a reminder, category 3 requires a report, right, with pre and post photographs, and then a little summary report, and then there's also a Mass DOT environmental inspector on site throughout all work that's within jurisdiction.
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's what one of the someplace. It was the other letter. So that-
Review. Representative projects requiring engineering plans.
Yeah, and Billy stated that would be happening.
Part of that, right?
Yeah, in this description that a representative would be on site and we would get before and after photos and like a
That's right.
summary.
Yep. Great. That sounds like she's already,
Yeah, she's on it.
yep. Okay.
She's good.
Absolutely. Well, if there are no further discussions, questions around this, perhaps, we would, well, let's see, we've already approved
No,
the
oh,
order,
yeah.
the order of conditions.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Is this a
Well,
public
they-
hearing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like you should still like
Yeah,
approve
let
the
me-
request.
What's
Yeah.
the language in the order? The under 3, category 3? Is they're required to take certain steps?
Category 3,
And then
projects
it's to
require
send us a
prior
report.
review to determine if the work may be completed under these orders. So I suggest that we would vote to approve that these conditions do in fact fall under the already existing order of conditions. That was not very.
Sounds great.
Yeah, approve the work under the conditions of category 3 and
That sounds like a motion, right?
It sounded like a motion. Can we get a second?
oh.
That's, yes, all right, so we've got a second, so let's go ahead and vote. Erica,
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
Kristen,
Aye.
I'm also an I. Moving forward, maybe we should find a more eloquent way of dealing with these. I'm sure there are other, Kristen, you said there are other cities that have these bundled and like UMass and what have you. Have you had any experience like being on at the meeting when such a thing has been voted or has been brought to the commission?
Yeah, it's, you know, so like I've worked with these on campuses like condominiums, homeowners associations and college campuses. And now you know, Mass DOT is starting to implement these for you know, cities across the Commonwealth. And it seems like, I think we would just approve the request and then cite the special condition number. And then, so if that's special condition, I forget how they were numbered, but you know, and then if there are any, you know, stipulations like pending appropriate erosion control or whatever, that can just go into the approval. But it would just be, I think, like I don't know, they don't get it's just it's just a verbal approval, right? Because they already have an order of conditions, so.
So maybe next time it doesn't need to be a public hearing?
I think,
Yeah, I was confused on that because it is a public, I don't know,
Right.
but it was initially, and when other agendas, when they wanted to amend anything, after it was already approved, it still was a public hearing. So I thought maybe it was like always a public hearing.
Okay.
I don't know.
I guess this is not really an amendment. This is an actual
This is more like a
to
request.
Do what they want, what we already said. they
So
So
wanted.
it would be old business or?
Well,
No, I
it
think it's
sounds
just-
like it's sort of a split between an RDA and a request for
I was
order,
gonna say, it's almost like.
it'd be new business, I think, because it's a request.
but request for,
But almost like it's not an emergency, but like the emergency.
It's
one.
routine O&M, so routine
yeah.
O&M.
So new business.
New
Yes.
business.
I
New
think so.
business.
We're just
Yeah.
kind of letting us
Okay.
know and we're,
Okay, I'll do that.
We're confirming
I'll
that
do
it
that
does
next time.
apply,
right.
Exactly,
as
yes.
they
Right.
are saying it does.
But
Okay.
do we open it to the public? That's my question. I can't remember.
That sounds like something we maybe could follow up with and then just get our Ts crossed, but it
Yeah,
seems.
I might have to call like MACC or something. Like, I don't know, you know, because there's not
A lot of guidance around this.
yeah.
Yeah. But I think for the time being, we're in agreement in terms of they can move forward with the project as is. Which, let's see, that brings us to the conclusion of our public meeting and hearing portion. And so we will come down to our new business, which first up was the, correct, James Street? Request for certificate of compliance, 60, I just wanted to make sure that was you. And that's not somebody who wasn't here. Request for certificate of compliance, 60 James Street, DEP number 168-0337. Expired 6/18/2023, construction of new single-family home.
Okay, so Carl Woodruff is here tonight, requesting a certificate of compliance for the single family home. I will share my screen. I visited his property and took some photos. Let's see, where did my thing go? So why don't we look at did it not share? I don't know why it defaults to Kristen. You know, like usually it's the person talking. These were the plans that were approved initially. So this is James Street and this is the lot down here. And then this is the home that was built. There was a bordering vegetative wetland in the northwest. Do you see where my cursor is? Why don't I zoom in? Ooh. And so here's the 25-foot wetlands buffer zone. here is I believe that's the construction perimeter, right, Carl? This,
That's the silt fence.
oh, that's the silt fence, okay. Okay. And then, this dashed line, what is that?
It's just the setback,
Okay,
rear setback. That's it.
okay, so you can kind of get an idea for the layout of the property. So the special order of conditions, really the only one that outside of the general conditions was acknowledging the 25-foot no disturb zone. And then, you know, the right for the agent to modify if they notice things on site and require additional conditions if necessary. So let's go to my site visit. Let's see. So this is, I'm like basically at the top of the house looking down the bordering vegetated wetlands, like on the far side of this tent, but like deeper into the woods. It's not like right on the other side of it. And this, we're walking down the south side of the house towards the woods. There's a little trail into the woods. So this is kind of the extent of the housing footprint. This walks towards an intermittent stream. And turned around, up there's the parking area. This is the edge of the house. This is drainage from the road and parking area. This is, so I'm still standing in that same area. I just pivoted. So you can see, really it's like clear as like the house and then kind of the footprint of like the home plot. And then it's just woods, like very undisturbed woods. I think that this project had a very minimal disturb zone. It definitely adhered to the 25-foot no disturb zone requirement. Let's see. So yeah, we walked down this little sawdust path, and this is like the intermittent stream. And there's actually two that join together. So there's one over here, and then there's this other one that comes out from right under this rock. So it's a spring. It starts right there. It's kind of cool. This is deep into the woods though. It's far from his home. So if you look, like I'm like over here is the rock that I was standing on, and this is the other stream that goes up to the left of where his property is. That's the intermittent stream. So that previous photo, so that goes up to the bordering vegetated wetland. That's over here. Okay. And then that's looking down. And we're walking towards up here to go check out kind of the northern part of the bordering vegetated wetland. So this, I was trying to find, because this is, Carl, can you remember, we were looking at the flagging and there was a pink one, right? But that one's orange. There's, ooh, jeez. I was trying to find the pink one in this photo and I couldn't.
You read about where your cursor is.
Oh, is this it? Is that it? There, you know, this has been several years, so the flagging is faded and a little tattered. Yeah, like I took a picture of it. It's just- but basically this is the general area. So then if I turn around, that's kind of the distance to the house, and it's very wooded. You can't tell, you know, there wasn't like machinery or anything in this area. And that's pretty much the extent of the photos. That tent is on like stilts. I did notice that. And that's the Mass DEP sign. So all erosion controls have been removed and I think it looks great.
Does anybody have questions, comments, concerns?
How long ago was the project finished?
Finished, substantial completion and 3 years, 3.5.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was there for the original site visit, so it looks a lot different. Looks good. So, yeah, it was a lot of.
I've seen Mitchell do it like several times, so I kind of just thought it was an issue. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
One of the special conditions stated that the 25-foot buffer zone shall be recognized for the length of the project. I'm assuming the project is the house. So is the buffer zone permanently demarcated, or like how is that memorialized? Or is that my misunderstanding?
Is the project the house or is the project the building of the house?
Well, it should be the house because it's the project. So I guess, how do we know that there won't be any future encroachment on the 25-foot?
What sort of encroachment?
The first thing that comes to my mind is a path being established, and it appears that there has been sawdust laid down on the path that's within the zone that we're talking about here. And while I don't think that in particular would be of concern to me, I guess if I were to think about future path development and things of that nature, like I don't think we would want to see wood chips getting added to that or any other sort of material of that nature that would be added into the resource area that shouldn't be there. Is that a fair assessment, Kristen?
Yeah, I don't remember this one. Sometimes we have some kind of permanent visual marker like boulders that are not easy to move. I don't like doing steel pins, but some commissions require that. I personally like something that's more in tune with the landscape, like bluebird boxes or boulders. But I guess if this one was just the tree line is the visual limit, then I just want to make sure the landowner understands that that tree line is, that's your limit.
In violet.
And
Which-
just to make sure I'm understanding that correctly, the encroachment would be within the 100-foot or within the 25-foot or both?
Both.
The 25-foot is the no disturb zone. So they're different with what their requirements are.
Is the house within the 100-foot zone?
The house is, yes.
So then the no disturb zone is the 25-foot.
Yeah, and if you want to do certain things, like if you say you wanted to do an above ground pool or a deck or or like a mother-in-law apartment or something, some things require new permitting if you're in the 100-foot, and some things are considered minor buffer zone activities. So just feel free to reach out to the agent if you have questions about that in the future.
Well, two things I just want to mention, just to make sure I'm clear. As far as the path, we haven't created any new paths, no any intentions to. We did spread some of the sawdust on the beginning of that path, which we not do if we shouldn't do that. And then as far as other projects, the lowest level down there, the studio level as we call it, as you may have noticed from the photos, there's like still some unfinished construction there. We have actually opened a subsequent permit, which is just finishing that space, but hasn't changed the footprint of the structure. There's no addition or anything. but it was originally built as unfinished space. And we're converting it to finished space right now, which is what the evidence of that construction is.
That all sounds good to me. Do we have any further questions, concerns? And Kristen, do you, you brought up the, just some sort of way to mark that, was it the 25-foot?
Yeah, but my comment was that I was trying to interpret that special condition. I think if we were gonna be specific, that time has come and gone.
Tracking.
I just wanted to make sure the landowner got it. If there wasn't anything specified in those special conditions, we can't do anything about it now.
No, there does not appear to be.
But I did want to make it clear to the landowner, you know, like the 25-foot would not be a good place to compost yard waste or cut a bunch of trees for a playground and put a swing set and build a garden and all that kind of stuff.
Understood, thank you. I don't know if this is the most appropriate time to bring this up, but we are intending to do additional work, which we're gonna file another notice of intent, which is going to involve subdividing the lot that we're on to build another house further from the no disturb zone. And so we have just reached out to the wetland scientists that we used originally to go redo the delineation. So if there is, I'm just bringing it up now because if there is a desire to see that 25-foot no disturb zone more permanently delineated, we are planning to have that reflagged for that. So the fading flags that are, you know, few and far between at this point, we wouldn't have to rely on that if there's some desire for that to be more permanent.
Sounds like it might be helpful. It is very easy to forget
Yes.
and just have things kind of scooch further. So it might be helpful for you and for us to mitigate the possibility of future conflicts.
Yeah, we're very open to that. We'd like to see that well protected. Permanent marking is a concept I was familiar with, but if there's ideas about how to do that in a way that's.
I love Kristen's suggestion for bird boxes. I think that's so,
Yeah.
it's fun.
I even had a project that was like a kind of a historic site and they had some old farm equipment that they kind of used to like incorporate. I mean, there could be other ideas that are part of your natural landscape that work with, you know, your vision. It doesn't have to be, you know, I hate steel pins. I really hate them, but you know, just something that, what if you sell the property? You know, we believe you, but you know,
And Kristen, by steel pins, do you mean putting rebar into the ground?
Yeah,
and Find it with
those.
a metal detector?
Mm.
That's
Oh,
another-
that's how you're supposed to find that.
That's-
or I've seen them
That's
tall.
something- That's something people do for surveys around fields that have grazing, you know, if you don't want to have a visual. So there's some ways to do it that
Gotcha.
are minimal disturbance, but that can be found and are permanent or semi-permanent.
Yeah,
So
or you know,
literally fall over them instead of.
Yeah.
some kind of fence or I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We're not here to solve that problem right now, but just a thought.
There's the options are out there. Awesome. All right,
Sounds good.
I
Thank you.
think we're good.
We need to vote.
Continue to vote.
Yeah.
One. They make an order,
So we
make
need-
a motion
we need a
to
motion.
approve the certificate of compliance for 60 James Street, Greenfield, 60, right?
I'll second.
So we're going to vote to approve the certificate of compliance for 60 James Street, DEP number 168-0337. Kristen,
Aye.
Erica.
Aye.
Emily,
Aye.
I'm also an aye. You're all set. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So just as a reminder, that needs to be recorded, right?
Mhm.
Yes, I'll send you all the paperwork and then it will have to be recorded with the registry of deeds to remove the cloud and then you can move forward with your new project. Yeah. Okay.
Hang on, I gotta put my glasses back on. We have another request for certificate of compliance, 290 Shelburne Road, DEP number 168-0270. Expired 6/30/2016.
Yeah, so this one has been, it dates back. The original NOI was in 2009, and they received a partial certificate of compliance in 2014. So the original NOI was for 261 Mohawk Trail. And then when they received the partial NOI, the remainder of the project that hadn't been completed, and, you know, and that had been like left out of that partial certificate of compliance. Did I say partial NOI?
Couldn't you say
didn't-
partial certificate of
Okay,
compliance? Yep.
okay, good.
Yep.
Was a part of the project that, all right. It's sort of long-winded, so I'm gonna bring up a picture to kind of support what I'm trying to say. So here is. So once they received the partial certificate of compliance, they had to restore an area where the silt fencing and erosion control measures had been moved by the person who is like the contractor. And the agent showed up and was like, whoa, that got moved. And there was an enforcement. And so they got the partial certificate of compliance and then submitted this restoration plan for that area that had the silt fencing and the erosion controls had been moved. So I'm sharing, supposed to be sharing with you. So let's see. So it's this is 290 Shelburne, and there's a parking lot area here.
And that's Wheeler Brook. That's a perennial stream back there, right? Right against the parking lot.
There we go. So the silt fencing was originally here and it got like moved here, basically. And so they submitted the plan that we're looking at, to address that, and it involved planting these, this list of species. Saplings. And then earlier, here I gotta. So that's the introduction, recommended restoration. This kind of involved a bit of like forensic kind of study to figure out like what the history of the area was. So it was restoring that area. They also, there was an option for Japanese knotweed removal, but that wasn't like set in stone as something they were gonna do. But then there was also the installation of a shed, which they did do. And so in the order of conditions, the commission requested that the shed not have a permanent foundation, that it be up on like wooden planks with potentially rocks around it. And this is that was the proposed location and the ultimate location of the shed as well. So I can bring you, we do have attendees on the call that are here that can discuss this project as well, I believe. Let's see. Justin Leclerc, Dale Putnam are both on the call tonight. I can answer any questions, but I will just go to the site visit that I completed a few days ago. This is the shed. You can see they did put it on wooden stilts. There is the pea stone border to it. And then this was the restoration area. Previous photos show this completely cleared. There was no plantings at all.
Wait, so I thought that it said it was supposed to have like 27 bunch of.
Yeah, I can go back to that list. So let me just.
Okay,
quickly, So this,
so there's one river birch.
I don't know what that is.
Is there supposed to be, that lawn area there? Is it, was the planting behind that or?
That was, no, the plantings were to be within that.
Oh.
Yeah, within it. Okay. So let me go back to the. Planting plan for restoration area, saplings 6 to 8 in height. Number 7, shrubs 2 to 3 in height,
Oh, it's gray birch.
20. High brush, blueberry, oh, those are all the lists. Yeah,
Yeah. I saw one staghorn sumac. I definitely saw a cornus. And then it looks like
Oh,
the
wait,
area,
sorry.
if it was seeded, has been mown.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to go out of that.
So was the area supposed to go up to the parking lot, to the pavement there?
Yeah, that was that was where the silt fencing was. And then for whatever reason, that contractor was like, oh, I'm gonna move it, and then clear that whole area.
Okay.
So this was a plan to like replant the area.
Was there anything in this restoration plan for a post-restoration monitoring and reporting? Or is this the first time we're getting any monitoring and
I
reporting?
think there was something about the 2-year thing, I think. 'cause I
There
read it.
usually is some kind of a post-restoration monitoring and reporting requirement
There was something.
Oh.
to see that everything is
Dale,
successful.
you're welcome to unmute yourself if you wanna speak.
Back when we were doing this, I'm one of the members of Jehovah's Witnesses and worked this all through conservation, back through conservation and all the permits and everything. I believe it was Mitch, as soon as I got my phone, it's been 16 was when we did it. So Mitch, you familiar with that? All I've gotten in there is Mitch C&C. So I know he was a conservation person on this. They had made many, many visits to our site. As Jessica mentioned, they showed up when this happened, which is all fine and dandy. It was like, he moved it from, if you saw the sidewalk that's there with the light, the fence was roughly 4 feet behind that. They went and moved it back. And so that little section up in there is what we've changed. Christine mentioned before, this is just a verbal for that other plan. And that's what happened here is Mitch come by and the commission at that time looked over everything and said, you're good. Nothing more is needed. So I don't know. Wasn't any emails. That's just where we're at now.
So Mitch was our Conservation Commission agent in like 2023. You said this order expired in 2016?
But so was he somebody who was on the commission or was he
He was the conservation agent, Mitch.
I know, no, but I'm asking,
Dale.
Dale, was this somebody who was on the commission?
I don't know what his position was. He was with conservation. But
So it wasn't
I'm sorry,
Mitch.
it's been a lot of years. I don't remember what it was exact position was.
I wasn't a member back then, but Cassie was our agent in 2020. And before
No.
that, I don't know.
It's, it wasn't, no, it was way before that. It was, because it was right before I joined. And the names I saw were Tim Mosley and Gail, I think, and then a couple of, those are 2 that I actually knew, but there was 3 others. They were before me, so.
Was that a
I don't know,
picture
that's why I don't
Oh,
know who-
that photo was good, yeah.
From when the work was done?
This, I think, was what the enforcement order was.
So that's the restoration area that we need to be
Yeah.
restoring.
Yeah.
What happened to all that other veg that's on the left side of the photo?
It turned into Japanese knotweed.
But where'd all the canopy go?
Here, let me go back to my site visit. I think,
This is what. This is the enforcement.
yeah, there's still, this is
Oh.
a different angle, like that one's like
Gotcha.
looking this way.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, so, but yeah, like this, it's crazy with knotweed actually.
I didn't come out with that.
Well, Dale, do you have an inventory of what is surviving today of the 27 saplings and shrubs that were installed?
I do not, I'm not a landscaper. I don't have that. And I honestly don't remember planting a bunch of saplings and such as you're discussing here, because that was the picture she showed where the silt fence was there. That was that little area behind that had to be redone. That one right there, that small section right there, that had to be redone. Because I pushed some of the fill over that direction. That's what happened.
Mhm.
Moved the
And
fence,
you're,
moved it out, but I don't recall any planting. Like I said, whoever, like I said, who I've got my phone for Conservation Commission is Mitch. And that may have been the last one I talked to after some changes through the committee. I don't know.
Yeah, because basically what's happening on the property is they had major flooding and the stream bank is totally eroded. And so they're trying to submit a notice of intent, but they can't until this is closed out. And so they were in contact with Mitch a bunch about what to do and how to do it.
So we have to close out the old one. before
Yeah,
they-
so
before
the,
they
yeah,
fix before they can
yeah,
start this new one.
yeah,
If you see on the left lower corner, there's cement blocks there.
yes.
That was over behind the shed and ran into that whole area. It was an old building that was never shown on anything. It was a block foundation that when conservation came, they said, we want all this removed from the woods before you do anything. So that's what part of those blocks are from. It's just stacked up there before we got rid of them.
they're gone now though, Dale?
Oh, yeah, and all the blocks are gone. They were out behind the shed. It came around, it came into part of that parking lot area. Like I said, that wasn't on anything. It used to be the old saddle shop, tack shop, many, many years ago, the footprint for our building. We added to it, but we had to put it right in the same place. And
Yeah, yeah.
the knotweed, I told Jessica, the 261 Mohawk Trail, which was part of this land as well, that was all knotweed. And we've maintained it to keep it back and away all these years.
Knotweed is tricky to maintain. The more you cut it, the more it doubles. It's a little feisty and it loves to spread in floods. So it's the fact that it's growing on your property is an indication that you're seeing some flooding from Wheeler Brook.
Well, Wheeler Brook is the same brook that runs by Big Y that's doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, like I said, all I can tell you is what we received for the go-ahead from, I got Mitch on my phone. It might not have been Mitch who gave us the actual permit, but we complied to everything they'd asked for, because there was plenty of visits when they did this. I told the gentleman doing the site work, I said, you created a lot of work for us that wasn't necessary, but.
Well, guys, what do we want to do about the fact that we don't have a count of what was the restoration plan, the enforcement order? We don't know that was adhered to. Do we want to know what's out there? Do we want to
What
do a
was the
site walk
desired
and count it?
I have a question. Can we determine what the desired condition of the area was? Because the plantings, it sounds like it was intended to be a shrub and tree area with herbaceous species there. And
Yeah.
it looks like what we've got now is a couple of trees, a boundary of shrubby, growth, and then a lawn area.
Yeah.
So it doesn't end up having become a natural area. It's sort of a maintained area. So that sounds like it's not necessarily in accordance with the intent of the original order. And that might be just, over time, people are thinking, oh, this is an area that needs to be mowed. But the goal of that sounds to me like it was supposed to be a natural area with shrubs and herbaceous species and stuff according to that list. So Dale, given that, is that something that could become the future maintenance of this area, to not have it be part of a lawn, but to have it become part of the natural area instead, as was originally intended?
We have no problem with that. It's just the reason we stopped at where we stopped with grass. That was what we got verbal permission for. I met with conservation every 6
Gotcha.
months for 2 years on our property because of the knotweed invasion that they had. And after 2 or 3 years, it finally stopped. They said, no, you're maintaining what's needed and everything's good. So
Is the enforcement issue closed out, Jessica?
Well, this is kind of all part of it because
Okay.
when they, did the enforcement, it was during the previous NOI or the project that they got the partial, oh wait, Justin's hand is up too. Here, let me just finish my thought. So the enforcement was during that project and then they got the partial certificate of compliance for the part that wasn't the enforcement, but this was the enforcement.
Okay,
And that's why they
Gotcha.
submitted
Yep.
the restoration.
Got it.
so
Yeah.
this is the only area that's not
Exactly.
completed, and that's why we're here.
Yes.
Having this conversation.
Okay, Justin, I believe wanted to say something.
So, just for the record, Justin LeClaire, McCarty Engineering, here tonight on behalf of Dale Putnam and the Jehovah's Witness congregation. So, just speaking to this area and kind of foreshadowing what's going to be coming with the notice of intent following the closure of the COC, we are proposing a bunch of plantings along the stream bank. So, if the commission's amenable to it, I would suggest that we allow this area above the parking to revert back to a more natural state, not maintained lawn, not manicured, and offset that with the plantings that we're showing along the stream bank, which weren't originally required, but we did provide them just as part of the restoration that we're proposing later on.
I
The-
personally would like to see the enforcement order restoration plan executed before we start talking about future restoration, which is great. I'm all for it, but I think that there was a restoration plan and not sure it's been executed fully.
So there's a little bit of urgency to move forward because the issue that's come up is with the flooding of 2023, Wheeler Brook completely flooded both this property and the adjacent property. And as a result, we're starting to see undermining. There's a prime picture there,
Mhm.
where we're seeing undermine of the drainage infrastructure on site, which is the natural stone swale that handles the majority of the drainage for the site.
Mhm.
So we're trying to push DEP through to allow us to go forward. We've coordinated with them regarding this, but the formality for the commission is that since you can't have two NOIs open on the same parcel,
Yep.
we need to close out this one. I know there's a lot of missing paperwork between then and now. So we would just like to come to some sort of middle ground where we're not trying to redo the work that was already done with the previous commission, the previous agents, whoever they may be, but also acknowledge that, yes, we are doing additional work above and beyond with this new project that'd be coming in front of you guys.
I will just say that a lot of times you see bank erosion when there's no soil cohesion because of a lack of woody vegetation. So planting additional shrubs along the stream bank is definitely encouraged. Are you, I don't want to get off on a tangent on a future project, but are you doing bioengineering or are you just planning on, like, what are your restoration
So
plans?
it's a mix of, we have an in-house landscape architect, so it's a mix of plantings there, and then in addition we are doing, it's a green armor system that the third-party company that we use, I believe it's EJP, they've used it on other restorations, actually bigger scale than what we're doing here. So on top of the green armoring, we're proposing additional plantings of species. I don't have that plan in front of me, so I can't tell you off the top of my head,
That's fine.
but it is, we have a table that denotes it. And in addition, we are proposing a heavier blend of hydroseeding to help, again, further stabilize that area. So I would just like the commission to consider that where it is up at the parking area, it doesn't look like it was done fully to what Ecotech had designated back in 2014, but it is restabilized. It does look more manicured lawn than natural vegetation, but we also have to maintain the Japanese knotweed up there. So there has to be some level of maintenance there. But I think if we just kind of let that go back to a natural vegetated state, just don't do a regular mowing of it, just maintain the knotweed. And again, down where we're proposing the work is where we'd compensate with plantings.
Can I ask one question, Justin, and then I'll shut up?
Yep.
Are you doing any, or I guess, or Dale, are you doing any snow storage within that area?
Sure, you're talking.
Dale,
Ned?
more for you.
Yeah, I guess that's maybe more for you, Dale.
Sorry,
Yeah.
are you referring to out by the shed?
Or that enforcement area. Are you
Yeah,
doing
you're saying
snow
where the
stockpiling there?
restoration should have taken place.
Yeah, we don't put any piles back there. It's kind of just left alone. The only thing that may be there is a somewhat of a hump right off the walkway when we push that walkway back. But we don't store anything up there. And no, and honestly, I don't have a problem putting plants in there. It's we're not against any of the planting. It's just I don't know why it was. I guess the easiest way to say it was forgiven by the commission because they inspected it and gave us a green thumb. So we're happy to do that. I'm not looking to step aside from anything. I just want this done and I don't want to lose any more of our draining or because we got geothermal underneath the parking lot. So there's a lot of things that could happen here.
Jessica, what is this picture? Oh, you look through your pictures.
Yeah.
It's like a post and it's got a flag on it. What is it?
Okay, let me,
Is it the
oops, here,
I don't know. What
I'll
it is.
keep scrolling. You let me know when I'm there.
I'm not,
Oh, I did.
So
Yeah.
I took,
That.
oh, that
Yeah.
was, I think where the bank was originally, but now it's eroding.
okay, yeah.
So like, basically they submitted an NOI back in August. And that was when Mark was like, you still have that order of conditions. Yeah, so they've been
Okay.
hoping to address this for a while and it's just getting worse.
That's the one I was looking at.
Yeah, there it is. So this part of the project was actually approved with the partial order conditions, but I just took pictures of it. So just to cruise past this and go back to the stream. Oh no, oh, I think I saved. Yeah, let me just go, because there's actually, here we go. Oh shoot, that wasn't it. Hold on, 2024, here we go. Site visit. Here we go. So these pictures, so it had just rained a bunch the night before. And so this is like on the other side of the creek. It just was like completely flowing. So like the creek's here and there's like a little bridge area, like road that goes to, this is 261 Mohawk. And, all the water was, it was like raging through this area. So anyway, there's a need for the bank restoration to happen. And I'm
Is that a
kinda wondering-
wetland?
This is
Oh,
the
so-
field.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, so this is opposite of Wheeler Brook. This is as Jessica said, the Mohawk property. That is overflow from the brook running onto the adjacent property.
Yeah,
So
so this
the
isn't even like
Yeah, but
part,
is it a
part of
wetland?
their property. It's just to kind of
Show
show
the
what's
volume
going on
or-
with the, yeah.
So it seems to me that.
Well, in some ways it's good, because that means that floodplain is operating.
That's what I was kind of getting at. Thank you, Emily.
Bank restoration is critical, and so it seems to me that one of the challenges with naturalizing that space that we were debating that was incomplete, is that knotweed. And so we really have to think about the trade-off. If we ask them to naturalize that space, it's not really going to be naturalized so much as it is going to be recolonized by an invasive species. And so I think that we need to consider what we're asking for, and do we prefer them to beat back the knotweed or not? If you'll pardon the very unintentional pun.
Look at this photo. Is that all knotweed in the distance? Are they making any difference in the big picture?
Yes, that whole field was knotweed before we started our project, the whole
Oh,
field.
you're managing all that too?
We're mowing it just to make our site look a little bit better. We've mowed it since we built the building to make the aesthetics to the building of Jehovah's Witnesses better. It does. We have never charged the owner. Actually, the one that we bought the land from died in a fire a couple of years ago, but his wife and his son and his stepdaughter have it now. They own it now. And this is this flooding is based on a natural dam that formed during that flood with all trees and junk like that.
So kind of like going off of what Emily and Liz were saying a second ago. So the stream is trying to find its equilibrium because it's been disconnected from the floodplain. And that's why this is happening. The knotweed is bad, obviously, but if you're mowing it, you're mowing down everything else. So there's no opportunity for the native stuff to come up. And it sounds like you're really encroaching on the floodplain and the riverfront. And I'm not sure that's what we want either. So I feel like there's like two different questions going on. I mean, that whole field, like you said, you've been encroaching and edging it and mowing it, and there's a perennial stream over there. You're mowing right up to the top of the bank of it. Obviously we don't like knotweed, but I don't know, it's a slippery slope. Especially when you remove all the vegetation up to the top of the bank and there's no cohesion with the soil, you get bank slumping.
And actually, the project that we talked about a little earlier with those undersized culverts it's downstream from this, right? So it's all one system that's been very manipulated and straightened. There's a nice kink in there that means that it's sort of taking a right angle at a couple of spots. So that's why there's so much adjustment here. It's trying to make up for the fact that it's very manipulated down the road. Yeah.
And I don't think we're going to solve all these problems tonight, but I think these are
No.
things that, Dale, you should be thinking about and, managing your property with kind of a broader perspective.
Well, in terms of the request right now, the new NOI was filed in August. So we're getting into the spring system where there's going to be more of this flooding there. There's the flood that's happened there. There's more undercutting of that bank. So I can see why you want to move along. The area that we're talking about to close out the old NOI, what's the square footage of that?
Yes, excellent question.
On the plan, it said a little under 1,000 square.
Okay. So
That's what Echo showed.
it's not negligible, but it's not as much as being affected by the other work that's going to be done.
Jessica, can you like kind of dog ear the future NOI so that we can consider this with the next round of permitting?
Yeah, I feel like honestly, they probably will have it submitted like the deadline was today, but I did receive, did you guys submit that?
So
I know
I did submit the plan. I can send it again to you tomorrow. And I've already submitted the revised plan back to DEP. And we received a total of 5 comments, which none of them were anything major. Regarding the NOI, the only outstanding items is to update the filing fee, as DEP requested that we do it under the bioengineering, which I believe is, I think it's $5 a square foot of proposed work. So we just have to provide an updated filing fee, and then because it's been so long since we originally filed this NOI with the city, it would be beneficial to everyone that the notice get republicized in the newspaper as well as abutters get notified. But I know I'd have to coordinate with Jessica regarding when this would be put on the agenda, talking about
Yes.
the new NOI or the
Yes.
continuance of it.
So I'm inclined to make a suggestion that we address the restoration that was not accomplished in conjunction with this new NOI. Those banks are concerning to me, and I feel like that's the top priority, is to get that bolstered up before it gets worse.
Yeah,
And that's just gonna impact that downstream project that we've already talked about today even further.
Just
So it's not just that stream bank, it's those culverts and everything in between. So I think that we do need to prioritize getting these embankments shored up, but we also need to ensure that there is some sort of stipulation within that particular project that allows us to redress the plantings that did or did not get accomplished in that 1,000 square foot area.
okay. Yeah, so I feel like with everything Justin said, probably we'd be aiming for the April 22nd meeting. Right, Justin? So not the next one, which is the 8th, but it'd be the 22nd.
Yep, the following one.
Yeah,
Okay. And Dale, you can chime in as well, but I don't see any issue with wanting to address both areas with that NOI. And that's
We have no.
and then
We want to do it right per direction, and we don't have a problem with that. And I know, I know, I keep saying they said, we said, but we would have complied because we comply with everything that we're instructed, or asked to do by the commissioners' permits and everything else. So I don't know why or where the disconnect came through that one, but
Well, we appreciate your willingness to work with us to resolve that disconnect.
So are we motioning or do we have more comment?
Well, somehow we have to make, because once we grant the certificate of compliance, we don't have any way to go back on it, so we need to somehow
Well,
make sure they're gonna actually address it in
Right.
the other.
I'll give you my word, not that it means anything.
you have it on recording.
Yeah.
Recorded, that's no problem. We will take care of the plan
Absolutely.
as required, because it, like I said, it was an okay, but evidently I didn't get writing on it, so we'll plans that are required.
And we'll also have an opportunity to review the new NOI application, so we can ask for more if it's not offered.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
so I was just gonna say the new plan, we don't show anything up at the upper parking lot, obviously. Knowing that, I could take a look at putting something together that can be presented, but I would think that at that time the commission could add special conditions regarding some restoration up at the upper parking lot.
Justin, I will just let you know that we generally require native species native to the county, and if you follow the Dow Kalina publication, it gives you native species to the county and with a preference on shrubs and saplings that have wildlife habitat value. So not necessarily ornamentals.
Yep. I will I'll circle back with our landscape architect tomorrow and just make sure that that's addressed.
I'm sure they're familiar with that publication and it's available online. If you need it, just Google Dow Kalina County Checklist, Massachusetts, and you'll get it. And then you'll see what's native to Franklin County and
Okay. So I think we are prepared to, yep, okay. Prepared to issue a certificate of compliance on 290 Shelburne Road, DEP number 168-0270, with the understanding that when the new NOI comes into play, we will redress the 1,000 square feet adjacent to the parking lot that requires revegetation. Can I get a motion? So moved.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
Right on. Let's do a vote. Kristen?
I
Emily? Aye. Erica? I'm also an aye. So,
Right.
as we reminded the previous, person that was in here, the filing of the 16, yep,
James.
um,
Oh, yes, it will need to be, oh, yes, so the, certificate of compliance, I'll draft up all the paperwork and send it to you, and that will need to be submitted to the Registry of Deeds and be recorded. So once that happens, then we can move forward with, the new NOI.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and Dale, just so you know, the registry only takes check, I think.
Mm.
So
It's fine, that's fine.
not credit cards.
No problem there.
It's a weird thing. I think it's like $105 you have to go in. Yeah, just
Like cash.
I'll just take it off-
old-fashioned.
Take it off Justin's, I'll take it off Justin's tab.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
I'll be
bye.
in
Thank you
touch.
guys so
See you
much.
again soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's see where we at here. Greenfields Wetlands Protection Ordinance Review. So we get an email from Counselor Gold. If I'm saying that correctly, I hope. Asking if we had anything that we would like to suggest. Travis pointed out there had been some previous discussion around amendments that we had had in mind, or y'all had had in mind since I wasn't here yet.
Yeah, we talked about this a while ago. We've talked about this numerous times and I feel like nothing ever happens.
So that's, let's fix that. So we have a, could you pull up the, Jessica, could you please pull up the document that shows the things that had been discussed previously?
What Travis sent?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I just want to point out that this is supposed to just plant the seed, and that
Mhm.
will really go into depth in it next meeting.
Yeah,
So
great.
This is
we're
wonderful.
looking-
Yeah, this is supposed
So
to
we'll
just be a
look over
brief
the
little
list.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
And then consider it and then
Okay.
come back.
Yes,
Thank you. It's
exactly.
really helpful.
That's, love that we're all thinking the same
Yeah.
way.
So, so you wanted me to bring up the G Drive, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And so basically.
And I think he sent it, was that to everybody? No, Kristen
just
Elizabeth.
us.
Okay, so I can send the link around to this G Drive so that people can
Review.
review it.
So my suggestion would be that once again, we take a look at these
Wait.
things and we prioritize.
Why did it, here,
Um,
did that work? Sorry.
no, that's
Okay.
okay, that we prioritize our top needs, given that there is no guarantee that anything that we request / suggest will be accepted. I think we should really select the things that we think are the top notch, most important, and make those cases. And so, as Jessica said, this is our opportunity to just get this into your brain to begin with, and then move forward with this from here. One of the things that I had thought about, as we had discussed last time around the enforcement pieces, this might be an opportunity to.
I can speak to those whenever we want.
Perfect,
Mhm.
yeah,
Look
because I
that
know
up.
you had been following all that up, yeah.
Thank you
awesome.
for a reminder.
Yeah. And so, yeah, did we have the?
Yes, so, in the edit suggestion folder, it's just one doc from Fletcher, that I sent to Mitch. Here's my suggestions. There's the original and then edit, so really, it's only 2 suggestions.
I thought there had been a larger list at some point.
And then, well, let's go, what's 2022?
Possible changes document?
Yeah, so
Ooh,
here's,
Mm,
this one's much more lengthy.
yes,
I didn't read through this at all. I just,
I think I Command F
Oh, yeah.
for finding the enforcement piece. But yeah,
Oh.
so we've got change ideas here, verify strength of language.
but like, as a homework,
Mhm.
this could be something everybody looks over.
And comes
And I can
prepared.
speak to the fines. It mentions a confusion, and I think I understand the difference, but it would be helpful to look that over with others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so, I think what we can't collaborate on this, but we can individually review and come to our next meeting with a proposal or two that we would like to put forward and sort of discuss which ones we think are
Worthy.
top.
Yeah. I agree.
Are you sending a link to that specific?
Yes,
Like,
I will send this link to everybody
I'll
so they
come.
can explore it on their own.
folders?
Great, thank
Yeah,
you.
the layers
Yeah.
of these folders. Where? Now where am I? Excellent. Okay. So I think we can move on to our next little bit here. I think next up, we've got some old business with Lamp Black Road. Are you, sorry if I'm getting ahead of you.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hit send.
Gotcha. Lamp Black Road, parcel R08-11A-0. A road was cut, excavated down the wooded hillside to the floodplain and riverfront below in order to access the Fall River. This was not a permitted project. Stephen Pritchard, who has been very, very cooperative, was heading the project and is in attendance,
No.
is not in attendance to discuss erosion control / mitigation, installation, and next steps.
Okay, so, yes, he's been, super communicative. We had a tentative meeting today to, go see the work, but the person who is helping him, the person he hired as a consultant to help him draft the restoration plan, bumped the meeting to later this week. And so I bumped my site visit so that we could talk about like the document and everything like that too. So I'm gonna be going, like probably before the next meeting and take all the pictures of his progress. He sent a couple, because of the ice, he just did like a jute, path for him to walk on so that, it helped protect the soil more. So that was like all the way down, and then he didn't send a lot of photos. So this is like
And that's what he had been laying down when he was like drilling into the ice.
yeah, so he ran out of like the biodegradable stakes, but remember that was that big root mass scar. So that's
covered now.
covered.
Nice, okay.
Can you go back to the last photo really quick?
Yeah.
So can you see that rilling on the right side of the jute?
Yeah, so
And
that's
there's some on the
probably-
left side too. Now that we've got the spring freeze thaw rain cycle, I'm kind of worried.
Yeah, so I think remember when we were looking at the snowy photos and there
That was
big-
a spring.
Yeah,
was
I
deep.
kind of suspect that might be that.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing the best he can with the mess that it is. And as you said, Liz, he's been very communicative and very cooperative.
Yeah, and I know he's ready to get seating as soon as he can.
And this stuff is expensive. I mean, these materials are not cheap, and he's got a lot of them. So
So that's the update. It's brief. I'm gonna have much more for the next meeting.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yes.
cool. Thanks, Jess.
Okay, so up next, we've got an update on the violation at 30 Adams Road, unpermitted clearing in the buffer zone to a bordering vegetative wetland and bank. Commission to discuss observations from their site visit.
I just added this because Kristen wasn't there
Mhm.
and thought we would just update her on.
Yep.
Kristen, we took photos. I got 2 ticks out there.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to update me. Thank you. Yeah, how'd it go?
I think it went well, both the owner and I'm starting with like the worst photos.
There were a few surprises that we
Um,
didn't expect. but-
What'd you say?
I said there were a few surprises that we didn't.
There
quite
were,
expect.
so the landlord and the tenant were there to kind of just hear us out and answer, whatever. And so basically this is pretty bad. There's
Can you
d-
stop sharing?
What do
Yeah,
they
it's
call
not
this?
sharing.
Oh.
We're just looking at Chris.
It's like you are here. It's like life-size. Okay, so this was the southern part of the property that, I think there's bordering vegetated wetland and intermittent stream.
Oh, it does look pretty wet on the left. I mean, it's hard to tell without the soil, but, looks like
Yeah.
leaf stainy.
I think that also could be like snow melt too, but
No.
this was,
Behind there is the.
This
Yeah, the
was-
stream sort of runs.
yeah,
Down
and,
slope.
yeah,
Ooh.
the stream's over on this side, on the right side. But basically what you see is the landscaper was dumping like wood chips and leaves and detritus.
Free.
Compost.
Yeah, so and so, but he
Yeah.
like this is what he's saying, is that he pulls from these piles throughout the season and he uses it. And so what we had kind of talked through and we understood his process was that he would not add to it anymore. He would pull from it and it would ultimately disappear. Like, he left us with the idea that it would disappear by the end of the year, basically.
Yeah.
That he would go through that much with just his landscaping, like busy season. So we said, cool, if you could just not add to it, and then you don't have to get it out of here like this second, but you have to be pulling it out by the end of the year, basically, right?
Yeah,
Is that right?
it seemed a little bit like if we required him to go in there and actually actively move the entire pile, it might have been greater disturbance than doing it as he would piece by piece. And so, yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of how he left it.
So one thing notable about this pile is that it is I thought probably 25 feet from the intermittent stream right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That looks like BVW too. I mean, so the other photo was from a different angle, and so it looked like there was hydrology.
That's a different pile.
Yeah, there's.
Oh,
So
because the
that's
left
one
side, that
pile.
looks like hydrology to me.
So
I don't
that's
know.
one pile, and the other one's right here.
And then there was that brush one,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then there's this thing.
Mhm.
It's hard to tell without looking at soils, but I mean, that looks pretty suspect wetland to me. And it's
The-
definitely riverfront, right?
The
Under the
area that
ordinance?
second one
Oh,
is on.
yeah, it's intermittent.
Is basically the parking lot area at the corner, the back corner of it.
Mhm.
Or I don't know what you would call this, but all
Oh, this, you mean?
the
The big wood chip one, right?
big wood
Mhm.
chip one is the one.
That
yeah.
giant one.
As you first come in.
So I don't think it's that one.
There
That
was-
one's in the woods.
Yeah, it was like. book-
Yeah, that's a cherry in the front,
Yeah,
so
so-
that's,
I don't know,
Go back
I-
to the first couple of
the
pictures.
first, these are I in the woods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
then
I
we're
haven't
not even
gotten
looking
to,
at that.
no, we
one
haven't
yet.
even gotten there yet.
Okay, great.
Oh,
So,
No,
so,
those are the ones
there
that were
were-
gonna.
yeah, so
water around.
basically he's gonna pull from these, he's not gonna add, and then they're gonna stop using the woods as a dumping ground.
yeah.
So
That's
this is
good.
looking kind of back towards, like you like walk this way and then into
And
this
there's the
property.
property.
So, we just talked about like, what if we just like pretended that woods wasn't an option? Would you still have enough space to like run your business? And they said yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
So that's another site that he operates as
right.
well.
they could
Yeah.
put stuff on.
and so yeah, this is kind of the extent of these photos.
Did you
Yeah.
address the fact that the footprint has expanded? Unpermitted?
We did talk about that. Oh, this was just me thinking that's a 25-foot distance
Okay.
to that. But, oh, put a little video in there. So I did look at the aerials again with the different year aerial photos, and I like put my finger on the screen to see, and it did appear that some of the like apparent widening was definitely some shadowing,
Mhm.
and that I'm not saying it didn't widen, but I think it made it seem more dramatic than it may have been.
We also confirmed that there was not a large deciduous tree that was removed.
That's
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So what am I looking? Oh, and then, so this is the northwest, like little appendage.
Yeah.
thing, And there's logs there and the rest of the members talked to them before I arrived about that.
So the tenant is storing those.
Mhm.
Those are not part of his business. They're like a, they're basically part of a wood bank. So he's just putting them there as a favor. They're from the removals from work that he does that then eventually just get cut up to become donation firewood for people. So we said, please don't store things there. And he said, oh, okay. So after those go again, he confirmed that he would not put more there. And the other stuff there is also storage. Those are
Yes.
not active porta
portas.
johns.
Oh, the
Right.
porta johns.
Those are
right.
old ones that are
He's selling.
Trying to
decommissioned by
Trying to
him,
sell.
and so he'll sell them off. So both of them said that all the stuff over in that area would no longer be there after this season because they would be sold or chipped or, cut up or whatever. So that was our understanding that would.
So what's the season cutoff? Like May 1st?
Yeah, I think we need to maybe. just-
No, I think
I
like
know.
through the summer into the fall, like I think, cause that's landscaping season's like all
All summer,
summer
yeah.
and fall.
But none of these are part of his landscaping business. That is,
That's
that,
what he'll process
about
at time when he's got.
those are for a wood bank,
Okay, so
which
my,
is totally separate.
Then the
I
wood
don't know
chipping.
when
Right.
that would be. It's not
Okay.
for wood chipping. Those, my understanding is those are firewood.
okay,
Yep.
And so we could, I think we could ask them, when will those be out? They just said that it wouldn't take long, but we didn't nail
right,
anything
we
down.
didn't say date.
Maybe we can kind of negotiate a deadline because that,
I can drive by too, like to see if they've
Any progress?
just done it.
I don't think they would have just done it.
I
I think it sounded like, he needs to sell the porta johns and like, there's a lot of
Right.
steps that'll need to be taken for that. And probably unless he's moving those trees to someplace on his, the tenant is moving those trees to someplace on his own land, they're just gonna sit there until they get processed by the wood bank.
Okay,
That wouldn't be right now in mud season.
okay, yeah.
So
Right.
it won't be right tomorrow.
and I just worry that like without an actual
Yeah.
goal,
deadline.
this is gonna never mobilize, or it will mobilize and something else will mobilize in. Like, I feel like we need to have an established plan with mile markers, clear mile
I think
markers.
That's a very good idea.
Yep.
Clarity on all parts. They were very willing to come back and visit, via Zoom. There's someone else here, Jimmy, is that someone associated with one of the, and,
I don't-
and of course Stephanie is there. I don't know if
Um,
she'll speak at the end, but,
No, we're just attending.
okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
I don't know that they're associated with any of the.
Okay, thanks. But they were willing to come visit, particularly by Zoom. That was what, Jeremiah, the tenant, suggested. Sounded like the landowner likes in person better, but, it could be facilitated, so.
Right.
I think it would make sense for us to have another conversation with them. We told them we talked to them about it and sort of had general discussion, but we did say that we couldn't make any decisions because we hadn't talked to our colleague and we couldn't confer or make any decisions outside of the meeting, so. So I feel like I'd like to have a conversation with them to find out like, what is the time frame at which those will be gone? Is he going to sell those by June 1st? Are the logs going to be processed? What's the time frame for the logs to be processed? And if it's too long for our comfort zone, is there another place where they can be moved in the meantime?
Okay.
Yeah,
I
mean,
can send them an email.
that'd
I
be
had
great.
already followed up to the meeting with both, like I had gotten the tenant's email as well. So I can just, reply to that.
That'd be great.
Sounds good.
And we did say that we didn't want to see any widening of the area.
Yes.
And they talked about sort of what's at the perimeter right now. So they felt clear about those boundaries, but it doesn't hurt to maybe for us to have some sense of them. There is, it seemed like a stone wall,
Mhm.
at least for a portion of the side
Close to the
along,
trailer park.
yeah, on the wetlands side.
Mhm.
So that might be helpful, but,
What was the deal with the fence that was permitted?
it's over by the
On the
road.
other side, yeah.
It's not
Okay.
really on this side at
Yeah,
all.
I think it's actually even outside of Riverfront.
That's what I was so confused about in the meeting last time we met. He kept talking about the fence, the fence, the fence. And I was like, but isn't that on the other side? So I wasn't sure what that meant.
I think he was bringing that up because he had gone through the permitting process and talked to all these people at the city and talked about what he needed to do, and no one ever mentioned. So he like put the shed in too, and I think had like a whole process that he went through where
but it
he
wasn't through
thought he was
us.
going through the proper
Channels.
channels. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see, looks like we've got conservation, property maintenance, improvement and priorities, review of Griswold maintenance properties and site visit. And then after that, we've got some enforcement updates.
So, so my plan was to go to Griswold last week, and then it was today, and then, the timing did not happen, so.
What do we need there? I can force myself to go and take the dog for a hike.
Well, I have this map of the priorities that Travis and Mitch mapped with numbers, and then had associated pictures, and I was just gonna take more up-to-date pictures of each of these points and then ask you guys which ones you want to address first. What are the top priorities so that we can like hire someone to do it and get it done.
If you can't make it, let me know. I'll happily go.
Okay.
I need
I
exercise.
mean, I want to go. Like, I've never even been there, so.
I'll go with you. Let's go together. I'll show you around.
Okay.
I go
Wait,
there
but-
like I go there all the time. It's
But
a
you
great
go there,
spot.
but you're only free on weekends and I'm not free on weekends.
Well, I can go on weekdays as long as it's after work, but I have a night meeting tomorrow and I have a night meeting next Wednesday.
I
It's
can't
the-
do that.
I know.
I live like a half hour away and I'm.
Oh,
Like,
darn it.
I
Well,
know, I'd love
I'll-
to go on a hike with you, but
it's really it's short. It's like I live over by the hospital and it's an hour from door to door to do the whole long loop.
oh, to do the whole loop.
The whole long loop, the long way. There's lots of little like intermittent ones, but if you go the longest way around, it's only 45 minutes and then it's like 10 minutes drive for me each way. So it's really short.
Okay.
Maybe you can send Kristen that document
Yeah,
and then.
Or I can go on a lunch
whoever
break
gets there
and meet
first
you.
can take care of that.
yeah, I'll send it
It's a
to
race.
you. I personally want to do it anyway. But yeah.
2 sets of eyes can't hurt.
Yeah.
I
and
could
just
do
had
Monday
symptoms
on
last
lunch.
week, like everything.
I feel
She's
that.
still talking to you.
Sorry, do you want to do Monday lunch break?
Oh, sorry, I don't work Mondays. I can't.
Oh, all
Yeah, I
right.
don't actually want to go with you, so.
I'm getting the hint there, Jessica.
No, I mean, I have other responsibilities outside of this job.
All right. We can
I
connect
understand.
offline. But-
All right.
I'm putting it in my calendar.
For what, Monday?
I'm not telling you
I mean,
anymore.
listen, Tuesday, 9 to 2, I'm your girl. Or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I'm giving a presentation at noon on Tuesday, so I can't do Tuesday. But we'll connect offline. Let's just hit
Okay.
me up. If you want me to show
Okay.
you the ropes and show you the spots and walk it
Okay.
with you, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so that's that. Those enforcement updates just live there. And
Oh, okay. All
and,
right.
let me just make sure there's no additional.
On the rest of that, we got 60 James. Oh, I can come up in a minute.
I went to the invasive species removal project at 31 Nash Mills Road, Nash's Mill Road, with Wisty,
Mhm.
and she gave me the tour because I hadn't yet been there. And it's absolutely incredible what they're doing, and they're making actual tangible headway with the knotweed, and it's
Okay.
really inspiring to see, you know, like cleared areas that have native, like wildflower popping up that are gonna bloom. That previously she said you couldn't even walk into it because it was so overgrown with all different invasives that they're hitting up. And then they're even getting, they've had a couple days that some group of men from the correctional facility came and helped remove the piles and from where they were and put them in like a burn pile. And they're gonna do
Nice.
another burn on the 1st. Anyway, super inspiring. They're really making headway. It's cool to see. People have noticed, I don't know if it was last year and then this year, that there are like native wildflower species popping up, and they said they hadn't seen them in decades.
Oh,
And
wow. That's
it's just
great.
nice to see. Yeah, so that's the
Nice.
update.
All right. Well, sounds to me like a wrap.
Well, no, did you have something you wanted to talk
I
about?
think
Erin?
I'll talk about it with next time, because
Okay.
we're gonna talk about, it's
But
one of
all
the
the stuff-
listed
Yeah,
items
yeah,
in
we'll-
the
we'll
the
all come back
amendments.
with a-
So the
Okay.
bylaws, so.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's nothing we can do about it right now.
Okay.
There's actually one more thing I want to talk about that I saw on the hike with Wisty. She took me to the part here. Wait, let me stop sharing. And then I want to go to what is it? Murphy Fields. I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm gonna share.
Visit, I never did.
This
is
was
the
the
one-
trail that kind of went sideways and then we put,
You put signs up
Signs
like
up to-
danger? Is that-
yeah.
is that
Yeah.
the one? Okay.
Yeah, so here really this canopy like zigzag, that's all a landslide.
oh.
So the trail, there's like a trail that goes up here and and there's parts where the trail is literally right next to the edge, and the edge is undercut and it's really dangerous.
So it's
this
gotten
stream-
worse since.
It's gotten
What's
worse.
underneath
Okay.
it? Is there water action? Or is
So
it
the
just
the
a-
river's like down here and it's a very big drop in elevation.
Yeah, it's
So-
like
But it is-
60 feet.
It's
It's-
not undercut, it's like a landslide. So the stream's like it's like over here.
But
So
it's an eroding area between the stream and the upper, the hillside.
It's like the upper bank is falling in, right?
It's very
I
alluvial.
don't even know that I would call it the
It's
bank.
very long,
mean-
Kristen.
Because it's far from the water. So
It's only a
I
bit-
There's photos on the Google Drive.
yeah, I took pictures.
It's just really sandy, Emily, and it's just very like trees are falling, like all of those Widowmaker cottonwoods are
Yeah.
just like falling over, and it's
And
taking
then-
all the soil with it, and there's just this like
Yeah.
60-foot drop.
And with
Yeah.
all of the flooding from last year, we
Y-
also were seeing further erosion as a result.
Yeah, so I just wanted, I knew you guys knew because those signs had gotten put up and purchased and put up. But Wisty was like, oh, there's a spot where there's a crack in the land, and when we
Oh,
went
no.
up there, that part had already broken away.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I did reach out to the rec department too, just to be like, hey, it's not safe.
Right.
But I think that it actually might be, I think their land ends here and then ours begins.
Okay.
So are they putting up a sign at the back of Murphy's Field, like on the east or west side, I'm sorry, of Murphy's Fields? Because there are a couple of entrances to the woods from the backside of Murphy's Field that a
Yeah,
lot of
so,
people
like-
use in the summer.
Yeah, I picture, people walking on this side of the fence and
Mhm.
entering that way, but I haven't heard back from them about what they plan to do, but I know that like everybody
So
now
is it-
knows about it.
Can I share?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So this isn't the best, but it gives you a little sense of the topography there.
Mm-hmm.
And just look at what we're looking at.
Yep. It's like,
There's, you know, this. is
it's
this-
exactly right there, that little
Yep.
nose.
So it's this little tip of high area that's got a river running around it. And it seems like it's just extremely impacted, you know? And when we're looking at the river system here, this is actually really nice, interestingly windy up here. There's a lot of meander. So that's good. But then it's running straight into the highway and it's straightened for a long distance. So there's a lot of force. And then, of course, there's a dam, right? For
Mhm.
the swimming hole. So I just think this is a really, this is a very strange area in terms of what kinds of, you know, fluvial geomorphic forces are going on. And this is a right turn, you know, this is or rather a left turn, but it's a 90 degrees here. So yeah, this
is a
this
right
not
turn.
fated to live long. This is gonna be gone. Like the river is pounding through here and probably just wants to connect. We don't
Mhm.
want that. We'd want it to wind and, you know, it'd be great if this was it's kind of too bad that the river is, the swimming hole is there. Because this is it seems like this is a very dynamic spot in the river.
The mayor has suggested that she might be looking for a place to have a proper pool in town,
Yeah.
in order to alleviate the issues, to include the health issues which occur each summer when they have to drop the dam because of the bacterial populations.
And
Yeah.
responsible man.
I had found the photos if you guys want to look. at
Yeah,
them.
that'd be great. I'll stop sharing.
So,
I actually did I participated in a joint study with the USDA, UMass, and MEMA post Hurricane Irene on a stream bank erosion project on that reach of the Green River.
Really?
Yeah, looking at the geofluvial morphological processes of that stretch of the river and mapped out the severe erosion hotspots. And
Yeah.
this is one of them. Surprise, surprise.
So this photo that's up right now, we hadn't really ascended the steep trail yet, but just looking through, you can see
yeah.
those trees at an angle, like all these trees are at an angle.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a great photo.
So
Yeah, oh
there-
gosh, look at
now
that.
we're, ascending and it's just like this is, I'm like on the
Yeah.
trail. I mean, I scooted over just to get the undercut photo, but,
So Kristen, is this, what is it, a drumlin or is this, what is it, deposited by the glaciers? So a sandy?
Yeah, it's all super alluvial. I mean, it could be considered an esker, but it's just so soft. It's
Yeah,
it's
look at
part of
that.
the natural, it's within the meander width of the river. So it's
Right.
technically part of the meander width. I mean, as the river tries to find its equilibrium, it could potentially move into that area. So
so you can see, like, look at
Yeah.
this. Everything's like falling and you can see like through here, it's like all just wants to go down.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can stop that,
No.
yeah,
but we can potentially redirect trails so people
Yeah, I
are
was gonna
not
say,
going
yeah,
through
yeah.
there.
that's exactly it. The foot traffic is the, yeah.
So see that, I'm just gonna
Oh,
keep going.
yeah.
It's like that,
Holy
I think was the
cow.
trail and now,
Mhm.
so now we're up top and look at these trees that are all like,
Yeah.
Hanging on by it.
My gosh.
so this is the trail. Do you see that? And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
It's right along the edge.
yeah, it's like,
And
and
it's
this
like
is
getting
undercut.
better,
Yeah, and so if someone,
We gotta keep people off of that.
someone that's not like thinking about it,
Right.
Or you get somebody riding a bike up there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It just
right. Oh my
doesn't-
gosh. Right.
doesn't
Oh.
realize that it's undercut too. They're like, oh, I'm like far away from the edge, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
they're not, yep,
because
Yeah.
look at this. Isn't
Yeah.
this insane?
that's crazy. These
Yep.
little-
It's deceivingly fragile.
Yeah, so and then so look, so this is like I'm up there, but the river's way down there,
Mhm.
right? It's quite a ways down. Look at, it's like the trees are just like,
Yeah,
you
so
know.
we should probably think about having that retrailed before the weather gets any nicer than it's been getting, because people are gonna get out and be suddenly lot more people, a lot more foot traffic, a lot more bike traffic. So this seems like that's something that needs to take
Yeah.
precedent.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And this is the last point I'm gonna make. So this is the river,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is some sort of little like inlet of the river. Just, this is where I was getting at that, like, I didn't think the river was eroding it,
Mhm.
cause it is so far
Mhm.
from the actual hillside.
Right.
Hmm.
I think it's more like the soil substrate being
Yeah, yeah.
unstable. Alright, so that's,
It's
yeah.
the dynamics of
Yeah.
the hill.
So what do you mean by retrail Are we just like closing it with snow
I
fence?
mean, I think
Or-
we should, yes. Yeah, I might have made up a word.
I like it. No, I'm all for it. I like it.
But I think that, we would be fighting a losing battle if we were trying to completely keep people out of that area because people are habituated to being able to go there. And it's one of our open spaces that has access trails.
Yeah.
And I don't, I confess I have not visited the site myself. But I would assume there might be space for us to put a trail somewhere where it doesn't like immediately abut.
It's
This-
pretty, it's.
It looks
Yeah.
like there's property that's not owned by the city in between the two. Is that correct?
In between Murphy Park and the.
Yeah, I mean, that's just looking at the open space, or like,
Well-
not even, this is just the,
There's something.
yeah, whatever
else that-
Google has,
There's
but.
another part, is that where Lovejoy is?
Yes.
That we also own?
Yes, we
So
do own Lovejoy.
Maybe that's not on this map.
No, but it is in our folder of properties.
Right.
I mean, at the very.
This is, Access GIS, and so which property are you talking about? These are the parcel boundaries?
So there's the Green River Conservation Land and then Murphy Park.
Yeah, but there's also Lovejoy over
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lovejoy's in there somewhere.
so maybe that's
and-
in between then? Do you
I
have the
can
parcel
sh-
layers there?
I can share my,
This might just be wrong too.
so this, is Murphy Park, this yellow one. This, I believe, is Green River
So they do,
Conservation.
but on this layer that's Google, it doesn't. So it's just an error.
Okay.
And is
yeah.
Lovejoy the lower one? Is that what is that?
That's.
Across the street?
What do you mean Lovejoy? Is that?
Stand by.
I think that this, I think that one is the rec department owns, this
Okay.
one we
Lovejoy
own.
goes-
and
Okay,
then
that
they
makes
own
sense.
Murphy Park.
So the lower
Thing.
part is where the swimming area
Swimming
is?
area.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
And the
the rec
buildings
Building
department.
and all that
and,
stuff.
okay. gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then,
think.
yeah, this
Yeah.
is us, and this is also the rec department.
And.
What was
yeah,
the file, Travis?
I don't know exactly what.
Properties and maintenance properties. That's the baby pictures.
Just look up emails from Travis.
I haven't got any. No,
It's just-
I only saw the first picture.
Sorry, what are we trying to figure out?
Travis had
Exactly where
sent.
Lovejoy is?
Yeah.
I thought it connected, but I don't know exactly where.
Where's the
Yeah, what
one?
are you trying to, what are you looking for?
There's a map that shows,
All her properties.
right. Maybe it's
Well,
on
it'll be in
the.
the open space plan.
I don't know what Lovejoy is. It doesn't sound familiar.
It's totally a thing. Dang it.
Projects and property.
Here somewhere. I know it.
More help.
Yeah.
Alphabetical order.
Green River, Nims, and Lovejoy, all in one. That's the thing I was looking for. But let's do this instead then. Okay.
Open, yeah, I thought this, let's see.
Travis's handy dandy. There it is. Thank you, Travis. Okay, so I'm not actually.
Oh, Lovejoy is on
So
the far
demonstrate
side of that
from-
field. Do
Yeah.
you want to share it?
I can't. I didn't log in.
Oh,
But I can
you
send you
could
the link real
email me
quick.
the link.
Yes. I knew I. There you go.
Any minute now. Yeah. Share. What was so good at the share screen? Okay, so Lovejoy Land is on the far northern part of that Murphy Field.
Oh,
You should, or what are we, oh, you reading, email?
No, I'm just looking at the map.
I went to the Conservation Commission website, and if you scroll
Oh,
down,
there
there's
it
a
is, okay.
handful of links to maps,
Right.
and then this is one of them.
Okay,
Okay,
so
that's
this is the hiking trail, so it kind of goes into,
that one has erosion on it for sure.
yeah,
Got
this,
it right
this
here.
is the one that
Mhm.
we were on. So, you know, the parcel boundary, it is hard to say where one ends and one begins when you're out on the land and looking at that erosion.
I feel like it's right at the 0 point, the decimal point. It's like there. It's like right at the, where it says 0.1 on that trail that you're pointing at. That's like right where it starts.
Yeah, because those contour lines, like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Oh, yeah.
basically the top of that tight.
Yeah.
Honestly, it might be like the parcel line
Yeah.
because-
Right.
because of the contour. That's where it like flattens out.
So we don't have any room really to retrail because it would go, well, I mean, it would go into,
It would go into,
Right, could
Use,
Right,
part, yeah,
property.
part of Murphy, I mean, that.
yeah.
right.
The only thing that I can think of is like there are a lot of trails further to the south that are along the floodplain. But if you want to access from Murphy Field, it's just those two access points. And they both have problems.
Off of the one.
The upper ones.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think at the very least, we should put some signage up there that's a little bit more firm than what's there, that says that this is truly,
Like danger, keep away
Treacherous.
from edge,
yeah,
Right.
like that.
yeah.
Right.
I
like
think
this
there
trail
there is
is-
something out there right now that says danger, keep away from edge, but maybe we could say something like,
I mean, is that tree even still there?
No, there's,
Yeah.
it doesn't say that. It says caution, steep slope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
no.
doesn't
Oh.
like,
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
wasn't
address
really-
that like your life is in peril.
Right, yeah, I remember,
Yeah.
it was a caution thing, it wasn't really a, like,
Yeah, I don't even
Right,
think it
so-
said yeah, I don't know. It was,
It was sort of like, oh,
it was like, you know, yeah,
still
watch your
passable.
step, you know,
Yeah.
but.
No,
yeah.
but we need to
Like-
get something out there that says, do not use this access point.
Trail closed.
Yeah.
here's
yeah.
the sign. There,
Yeah.
danger, steep slope, stay on trail, but the
Yeah.
trail's
Yeah.
like.
The trail's
cool.
Yeah, so no, I think before we worry about relaying a trail, we really need to get something out there that says, do not.
Just says they would basically,
Yeah.
steep slope,
Trail closed, steep,
yeah, stay off
erosion.
trail, or.
Yeah, stay off trail.
Why don't we put like out in the dunes on the, you know, in coastal areas where they say, you know, sensitive to erosion, stay off or something like that. Makes you feel like such a crumb if you walk out there. You're like, but I'm contributing to erosion. So it's worse than just stay off, danger. It's like, you know, this is environmentally sensitive. And if you walk on here, you're just a total crumb. It makes you feel so small, you know, you're like, I'd never do that. I'm not, I care about the environment.
I feel small about
Yeah,
that.
I don't know.
I have seen people drunkenly stumble down the dunes though.
Well, maybe that would work to keep some people off of the fragile nature of those eroding trails, in addition to the danger aspect that it's just environmentally sensitive.
I think we just need to put one of those pictures of those, that guy falling.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it,
Like the jagged cliff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
bounce. Sorry, I'm getting punchy.
No, I know, it's like the baby falling into the 5-gallon bucket. Have you ever seen that? Yeah. God. Terrible.
Lord. Yeah, okay, so, we have some funds, right? To purchase such a sign? We just discussed this.
Maybe we can request our agent to do a little research and see what the options are.
Yeah,
like
because
standard
the
signs.
funds that we actually have money in
Oh, it's Griswold.
is
you
not
don't think
for
it-
this
you don't think it can
conservation
be-
area, but I feel like,
But we can't use you don't think we can use for something like signage? Not your, but I mean, that big account that we actually have money in?
that one is for implementing the Wetlands Protection Act, and so I don't think that this would apply, but I feel like in a situation where it has to do with public safety, that
The city might
There's
have
probably
some
a
way
city
to help us
funds,
out with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That would be worth
You could
looking
ask
into.
Eric.
yeah, I'll talk to
Yeah.
Eric.
Or what if even if it was posted on the DPW side or the recreation side, I mean, over by Murphy Field, can they afford it?
Yeah.
Because that's where the site entrance is from.
I have a meeting with Christy in a couple days, anyway, so I'll talk to her about this, because I did talk to Eric about it, and I sent an email to her and him. So I'll just see, if they have a plan of attack, what that is, how we can contribute to our end of the, property line and, but yeah, I mean, it's a liability.
Oh, yeah.
Basically,
For sure.
like it's something needs to get posted so
Yeah.
people know.
Okay, I still need my glasses, damn
Do we have a moment for public comment or discussion at the
Yeah.
end, since we have people here, or just to see if there was any?
I thought we were implementing it at some point. Like in. Oh, we did that.
We didn't have any public discussion at the beginning.
No, we,
Maybe we just look at this.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't say.
where did my agenda go?
It's right here. Here you go.
Oh, thank you so kindly.
There's the part about.
Yes. No discussions or comments will be entertained unless requested upon by the chairperson of the board or committee. I feel like I am always pleased to see the public here, and if we have a brief comment from the public that anyone would like to make, please feel free to do so now. I appreciate you joining us, and I, at this hour, appreciate your lack of comments. And I am always happy to have you come back. We all are anytime we have a public meeting. But since there's no current comment, let's move on to the close of the evening. Okay. So our next meeting will be April 8th. If I remember correct? Yes, April 8th. Okay, so can we get a motion?
Motion to adjourn to April 8th, 2025.
Second.
Let's vote. Kristen, sorry.
Aye.
Emily.
Aye.
Erica?
Aye.
I am also an aye. We will adjourn and reconvene April 8th. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, let me stop.
Bye, everyone. See you in person
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Um,